So just focus on your breath. Bringing your awareness to center. Just letting go of all the words, all the thoughts. Allowing yourself to drop into the experience of the movement of your breath. As we open ourselves to connect with the energy of wonder, of activating the purple ray of the passage guides. So these are the ones that hold out the hand to show us the way. The ones that focus on paying attention to the path upon which we are traversing, or that which we are being invited to follow. The passage guides note what we need in order to keep moving forward, even as we allow our vision to take in the wonders along the way. We don't have to worry about where our step is falling, because we just need to follow that guide, and we can take in what is around. And so there are, as with all the guides, several bits of advice, the wisdom that they share. Each of them has a little bit of a different reflection of that wisdom. Cultivate resilience is one. Anubis is good for that. The path to self, to wisdom, to truth, to endings, even the final end, may be a very long one. And if we imagine that the journey is a sprint, we are going to burn out. It's going to be a hard journey. Loss or depletion of energy and vitality can result in anxiety and depression. But if instead we regard the journey as a marathon, this is a long path, and we can take the time to care for what needs to be addressed along the way. We can take care of ensuring proper stores, the awareness, the management of resources. And resilience is cultivated when we know how to meet our basic needs in order that we can stretch or slow down, adjust, sometimes race a little bit, sometimes pull back, snap back. Resilience allows us to take shape and form as is needed in the journey. Read the directional signals. Become adept at the language of signs, omens, synchronicity. You know, when you're looking around at what is around you, what is that saying to you? How is it speaking to you? This becomes a great benefit in traversing the land between the known and the unknown, the space between light and dark. And there are times, sometimes, when Spirit speaks to us with unequivocal frankness. It's like, this is just how it is. Illness can be that. Like, yeah, you're not taking another step. You know, you need stillness. We were talking about that this week. But very often, it speaks through the language of symbol, and that can require some interpretation work. So the more that we work with the symbols of the divine, we work with, oracles and these divination tools that can help us to hone these skills, working with dreams as well. Spirit can sometimes be, as I said, very frank. This is just how it is. But more often, it really is this language of symbol. It's going to speak to you in a very particular way. So the more we spend the time honing that communication, the easier it is to find our way along the path. Avoid turbulence. As it starts to hail really heavily again. You know, it is not possible to get through life without a little hail, a little hagalaz. Without bumps and challenges, pain and heartache. But for all the bumps that may come our way, we can seek to step around the obvious pitfalls and traps. There's that poem, which I will paraphrase, of, I walk down a street, I fall into a hole, I get out of the hole, I continue down the street. I walk down the street, I fall into the hole, I get out of the hole, I walk down, continue down the street. I walk down the street, I see that there's a hole, I fall in the hole, I get out of the hole, I continue walking down the street. I walk down the street, I see that there's a hole, I walk around the hole, and I continue down the street. And the poem ends with, I walk down a different street. Sometimes we can recognize, like, I'm just not going down that path again. I know what it holds. And this is the avoiding of the turbulence. If it shows up, we need to know how to navigate it. We need to know that we can navigate it. But we can also exercise the discernment, particularly if we have, Hermes as a guide with that higher awareness. We can avoid it. Another Charon wisdom is to take responsibility. That there will come a time when it is inevitable that we have to pay the ferryman. And we move through the dark more quickly and with more ease when we accept that this is just how it is. Accepting responsibility means that we don't allow the dark, particularly the dark of insecurity and shame and self-doubt and self-recrimination. We don't allow those to muddy our waters. Know what you are responsible for and know what is not yours to carry. Persevere. Take heart. Do not give up. The road is sometimes very long and full of a whole other slew of challenges, which we've been talking about. Sometimes you get through the cave of snakes just to find yourself in the lake of fire, and it's like, oh my gosh. But the psychopomps know you just have to keep putting one foot in front of the other, one foot in front of the other, one foot in front of the other. Eventually, you will make it to the boon. Follow the wondrous clues. Rarely do the messages that come to us come in isolation. Rather, they tend to be linked one to another, like the breadcrumbs, beautiful, wondrous breadcrumbs. And there are times when sometimes the path is very light. It's barely discernible. These crumbs seem very far apart from each other. But again, trusting the psychopomps. They know there's something inside of you which will lead you to the next. And just take a moment, pause for a moment, allow the stillness, allow the eyes to adjust to the light, and learn how to recognize the clues to pick up the trail once again. And this is one of my favorites. Embrace guidance in unexpected places. If we are looking for guidance only in the profound, we may miss the guidance that actually shows up. If we are looking to be led by the majestic stag, we may miss the balloon animal on a string that is bobbing behind a child that is just begging us to follow it. Be aware of the prejudices or the expectations that you might have about what working with spirit is supposed to look like. And when you can let go of those thoughts, you will be able to see when guidance shows up exactly how it does. So this ray is aligned with the alchemical stage of coagulation, bringing it all together. All the wisdom comes together. And, oh, you can see this. I don't know why temperance is coming up underneath, but you can see this in the world. That all of these different aspects have come together in balance. And it opens us up to that experience of wholeness. This is the ray that brings it all together. This is the crown chakra, or reflected in the crown chakra. And so, though, there is some depth, some gravitas to these psychopomps as well, because all psychopomps are helping us in these transition points, which our human selves can struggle with a little bit. But there is a lightness to this. There's a high vibration to this. This is the seat of spirit. And part of that reflection is knowing that, really, is it, I'm blanking on the name of the book. A Wrinkle in Time. This idea of the tesseract, which is this really, really long journey. The longest journey is the line between 2 points. But when you bring those points together, they touch each other. There's the journey is the loop underneath, but the 2 points are side by side, and that's very much of what we're talking about. That we're on this journey, but we're always exactly where we need to be. We're not actually ever going anywhere. As I said, these worlds overlap. They're just vibrationally different. And so the soul alchemy, the cycle 7, coming to harvest, recognizing that, where we have been trying to get, we have always been in, that has always been, that place is within us. It's always been there. That blueprint, that wisdom, that path has always been there. It is the star that I have always followed, but it is the star that lies within. And so, our purple passage guides. Just allow yourself to be steeped in this violet ray. Dawn yourself in the ray of the passage guides. Anubis, Oxalotl, Charon, and Hermes and Mananat MacLear and Jesus. Bern Samdi, Mama Brigitte, Azrael, the passage guides are the ones to turn to when you feel that you do not know your way, when the path seems tangled and you feel lost in the in-between, or when there are apparent dangers along the way that threaten to stop you in your tracks. But recognize the language is all qualitative. It seems this way, you feel this way apparently. No, the passage guides know the lay of the land. They know what is true. They've met challenges and obstacles. They know, if there's danger or not. And they know how to keep you safe. And so there's no need for struggle. There's no need for stress. And follow the light of that guidance. And there is another sense to them as well, which is their message to you is that you are one of them. That you are on this path. You are walking this way because you have walked this way. You know this path. Within us lie all the paths. And so we can follow them. But we are also being followed. So take a breath and feel that beautiful cloaking of the purple ray, the ray of wonder that asks the question, how do I invite and appreciate the miracle of this journey, no matter the terrain it traverses? And bring your awareness back to your breath. Be aware of how it feels in your body. And how it feels in your energy field. And take 3 deep centering breaths. And slowly start to bring yourself back to the place where you are, the here and now. And when you're ready, you can open up your eyes.